Welcome into today's edition of ESPN FC. I'm Sebastian Salazar. In just a little bit, you'll hear from Ale Moreno, Archie Rintot, and Derek Gray. We're covering everything from a big weekend in the Bundesliga to the 2021 debut of Shaka Hislop's Power Rankings. But we start this show at the top of the Premier League, or at least the top of the Premier League, as the odds makers see it. Of course, we know Liverpool and Manchester United tied atop the table, but the latest odds have City installed as favorites, even money favorites at that. Liverpool right at around 2-1, Manchester United 6-1, and then so on down the list. The odds for Liverpool not any better after today's words from Jurgen Klopp. Looks like they won't be able to bring in a center back during the January transfer window. For more, we'll welcome in Steve Nicol and Shaka Hislop. Stevie, I'll start with you. Does Liverpool need to bring in a center back in the upcoming January transfer window if they are to win the Premier League, in your opinion?
I think the simple answer is yes. If they want to win the Premier League, then they have to sign a bona fide centre-back who's going to come in and plug the gaps, if nothing else. With Klopp coming out and saying it doesn't seem likely, that would suggest that either they don't have their eye on anybody or the one they have is not available. I would suggest that it's got nothing to do with the money. Yes, I know financially everybody's hurting a little bit, but I think I think their finances are in order that if they needed to, they could go out and spend some money. So they absolutely 100%, in my opinion, if they want to win the Premier League, need to go and get a centre-back of note. But that doesn't seem to be happening, which, in my mind, makes the bookies correct.
Shaka, what do you think here? Are Liverpool's title chances come down to what they do in the January transfer window?
Absolutely, they do. I think we saw that a couple of years ago when they brought in Virgil van Dijk. As much money as it seemed at the time, it was the right signing. And once he went down with that injury against Everton, this was a concern that Liverpool would go back to how they were then, a good team but not title favourites. And the thing for me is, even if adding to what Steve just said, you need a centre back. As good as Fabinho has been, that's a stopgap measure. That's if for some reason you have to go 2 or 3 games where he has to play a role. You don't want to be going 5 and 6 months as is the case here with him filling in at centre back. It'll work times, some of the time, but not all of the time. And in this league in particular, this year in particular, you don't have a whole lot of wiggle room to get that wrong.
Stevie, Manchester City obviously playing very well of late. Are they not a little bit overvalued, though, at even money, considering they're 4 points back of Liverpool right now?
I don't think so. For the simple reason that defensively, they have the best record in the league, in the Premier League, and they don't look like giving up many goals. Listen, if they stood on the field tomorrow with that same back line that has been playing recently, I don't fancy them losing goals. And the fact is that all season we've been waiting on them flourishing going forward, and they seem to be doing that. Then that's just bad news. Listen, it's a true saying. Fergie said it forever. You know, you build a championship winning side from the back. And as good as Man City have been previously, and as good as they seem to be today, don't kid yourself. Those great City sides of 2 and 3 years ago were built on the back of people like Vincent Kompany, who when it mattered most would keep a clean sheet and they'd win 1-0. Yes, we remember them winning 5, 6 and 7-0. But they had a few 1-goal victories that were down to good defending. And this City side right now, defensively, looks as solid as anybody in the Premier League.
Shaka, if what Stevie says is correct, the title-winning teams are indeed built from the back. Is this City team good enough defensively to be worthy of being title favorites right now?
I think they are. And first of all, I can't understand bookies' odds and how they make favourites, etc. But yes, this City team is good enough to win the title. I think they're good enough defensively, and I think you've seen a little bit of a shift in how they defend. Or how comfortable they are in defending deep in their own half, where I think last season and seasons before, typical of Pep Guardiola teams, they want to press you high up the park, and that's where the first line of defense starts. This team, more than any other, is happy to drop back into its own half and defend from there if need be. I still don't think this is a great City team, maybe by their own standards. I still feel that the great City teams, as good as they were defensively and pressing high up, you had that striker that you could rely on. And given the inconsistency around Kun Aguero and his fitness issues, and Gabriel Jesus not really being an adequate fill-in, I just don't see this team built with a false nine as being good as teams previously. But then you look at the usual suspects. Liverpool, we've just spoke about. I still have concerns about United, as good as they are, whether they can really win this title. So I sympathise with the bookies, though. Again, I don't know what to make of the odds.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.